The old coot here, coming back at you with another exciting video. So a question came up in the comments section of another video. How do you adjust the tolerance between the bottom of your attachment and your KitchenAid, right, the bowl, to make sure you have enough clearance to where the attachment isn't hitting the bottom of the bowl? If you notice like a bang or a knock or the attachment is touching the bottom of the bowl, stop, turn off the motor, unplug it. You're probably out of spec of where you need to be. So here's a quick video to show you all how to do that. So what I've done is I've shut off the motor, right, completely off. I've unplugged it, right? So here's my plug, I'm completely unplugged. What I want to do is I want to take this attachment, and what you're going to need for this is you're going to need a flathead screwdriver and a dime or two. The thickness of one dime is the tolerance of where you want to be between the bottom of the attachment, right? The bottom of this particular attachment and where the bottom of the bowl would be. So why this one? This one is the longest one, and this one will help you to set the clearance correctly for the whisk, right? For the dough hook, and also for whatever this thing is called. The spatula, the paddle spatula, whatever it's called. But anyways, what you want to do is take this attachment, right? Put it on your machine. So let me go ahead, whoops, let me go ahead and put that in there. So I'm going to put it in, seat it correctly, right? So now it's seated, it's locked in there pretty much. Now I want to go ahead and lift my bowl. And I can tell, I heard the click sound. I can tell that the bottom of the attachment is actually touching the bottom of the bowl, which is bad. So what I want to do is I want to lower the bowl. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to lower this again. I'm going to remove the attachment. And here's where you have some fun. Okay, so there is a screw here. See that flathead screw? Usually you might get about a half a turn in either direction. So it's a very tight tolerance. For this particular model, right, the bowl lift style, happens to be, I believe it's a 5-quart bowl lift or a 6-quart bowl lift. For this particular style, this particular model, this particular bowl, and these particular attachments, this one, you can only turn that screw about a half a turn in either direction. So right now the bowl is too high and I want to lower the bowl. So the way I'm going to lower the bowl is turn that screw clockwise, meaning like this, clockwise. So let me go ahead and show this to you. So I'm just going to go about a quarter of a turn at a time. So I'm going to go a quarter of a turn, right? Just to, let's say, about right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my attachment back on. Remember, you have to do it with this attachment. So do this attachment, put it in there, seat it correctly, go ahead and lift my bowl. Okay, so now when I click my bowl in, I can tell it got better. There's a little bit of a gap there, but there's still, I know just from experience, it's a little too tight. What'll happen is if I turn this on at some point, it may hit the bottom of the bowl, damaging the bowl. It could damage the attachment. It could also damage your motor. So how do you check? If you don't know, how do you check? Dimes, use dimes. So see the flatness or the thinness of the dime? If I can pass a dime between the bottom of the attachment and the bowl, I'm at the right spec. And basically you want to adjust it higher or lower, give or take to where the dime will cleanly go underneath this attachment. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put the dime in there. So the dime's in there now. And now what I want to do is I just want to go about centered with the attachment. See, it's not going in. So it's still too tight between, see if I can get my shadow out of there. It's still too tight between the bottom of the attachment and the bowl. Like the dime will not go through. It's clink, 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 it's hitting. So what I want to do is I want to lower this again, undo the attachment, right? And the only reason why I'm doing this is because it just makes it easier to work on this screw that's there, depending on how, your thing ended up. But what I want to do now is I want to turn this screw, once again, I want to turn this clockwise about a quarter of a turn. So something like that. And I've actually reached the end of the spectrum here. So this was all the way with the bowl up. Turning it to the right or clockwise means the bowl is pretty much all the way down. So that's how this particular model functions. But what I want to now do is, and just if you have more room for adjustment there, just make sure you just do a quarter of a turn at a time. So now what I want to do is I put my attachment back on. I want to seat it correctly. I'm going to go ahead and remove my dime. I'm going to go ahead and lift the bowl. Bowl is lifted. I locked my handle. So now what I want to do is I want to get that dime in there so it passes underneath And there it goes. That's why I have 2 dimes here. So now when I put my dime in, right? See now, sorry, shadows are killing me today. So see now how the dime is in there? And I can clearly push or pass the dime underneath the, see how that went cleanly underneath? That's how you know. So let me go ahead and grab them both again, or grab one of them if I can. Okay, so here we go. So here's my dime. Thinness, the thinness of 1 dime. I want to go ahead and put that down. Right, so there's my dime, and I want to be able to pass the dime underneath the center point of the attachment. So the dime should pass underneath the attachment through the center point. So something like this, right? Center of the attachment, the dime is underneath, and I should be able to push that dime cleanly through and underneath. There you go. That's the correct gapping. Now, to specifically answer the comment that was in the other video for the dough hook. Okay, so let me lower this again. I'm going to take the attachment off. Let's go for the dough hook. Here's the problem. Because the dough hook needs a little more space, as it were. Let me pull these 2 dimes out. The dough hook needs a little more space between the bottom of the dough hook right here and the bottom of the bowl. So as I lift this up and lock it, right, I'm correctly seated on the attachment, I can pretty much stick my whole finger underneath there. See that? So see how much clearance there is? So the comment in the comments section that was on the other video was, well, what if the dough hook isn't catching all the flour or the dough? You have a choice to make. You could either turn that screw counterclockwise and lift the bowl so that more of your flour and your water is touching the dough hook, or guess what? Just double your recipe. I honestly don't want to deal with the hassle of constantly adjusting and readjusting that screw to go between the dough hook attachment and say this attachment. Not worth my time. So what I do is I just double the recipe, get more flour and more water in there to be able to do that. If you were curious about the distance, let's see if I still have it. I had 2 quarters here at some point. Here we go. So I do have 2 quarters here, right? 2 quarters. This distance would be like, you'd still have enough room, or enough room for me to stick my finger in there and get my finger through, even with the 2 quarters. So you're going to have to make that choice. It's either lift the bowl as much as it'll go without it touching to where you could pass the dime underneath. If your particular mixer is like that, go for it. What I'm suggesting, just for the purposes of being honest and fair and everything else, the attachment lengths vary. See the difference there? I mean, we're talking about like a good 1/2 inch between, I'm holding these 2 consistent, right? Look at the distance of the bottom of this attachment versus the bottom of the dough hook. I mean, that's about a 1/2 inch distance. Maybe your dough hook is a little longer. Maybe you have an aftermarket dough hook, or whatever the case may be. Let me show you the whisk. The whisk and this attachment are pretty consistent. Let me get the 2 quarters out of here just for clarity. Okay, so again, I'm gonna keep the ends the same, but as you can see, it's pretty much, let me line that up correctly. It's pretty much the whisk and this attachment are pretty much the same length, meaning the same length from the bottom of the attachment to where it attaches to the actual machine itself. So these 2 are about the closest you're gonna get in terms of length. This one, whatever attachment this is called, the paddle with the thingamajiggy, the whatever. So if I line up this end, right, both ends on the same, same playing field here, and then I go to here, pretty close as well, right? And this spatula part is really designed to touch the bowl anyway. So I would say these 3, right? This one, and this one are about all of the same length, give or take. But honestly, I would do the dime test with this one. I think this one's going to give you the most accurate reading of what the distance should be. Unfortunately, in this day and age, they don't make them like they used to. The dough hook is a little bit shorter. So that's why you're not going to be able to do the dime test, right? Because as you saw me do, I was able to stick my whole finger underneath here, right? So here's the attachment going back on again. if I can get it up in there. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and do one of these. And as you can see, I can pretty much put my whole finger through there, underneath there. Whereas with this one, right, when I go ahead and put this on there, and go ahead and lift this up, I can't get my finger underneath there, but what I can do is I can get that dime to pass through. So once again, there's my dime. Whoops. There's my dime, and as you can see, the dime is right there. The dime goes through cleanly and neatly. That's what you want. For fun, I was going to say for S's and giggles, you know what I'm talking about? Let's get the whisk in there. Again, lifting this up. My dime is underneath there. Let me grab that other dime so I can show y'all. If I drop it in, let's see if we can play an arcade game here. So I'm going to drop the dime, and the dime went cleanly underneath. So there you go. That's how you know that you've got the correct gap, is you should be able to get a dime cleanly and neatly underneath the attachment. And like I said, for what it's worth, I would do it with this attachment. Test it with this attachment. As long as you can get a dime cleanly and neatly between the bottom of the attachment, right? So the bottom of the attachment through the bottom of the bowl, the dime should be able to pass neatly and cleanly underneath. Anyways, this video is getting way too long. I hope this video out there helps you, the commenter, on that post. And also maybe anybody else who may be watching this video. I'm the Old Coot, and I'll catch you all in the next exciting video. Remember, warning, warning, warning. Don't ever let this attachment touch the bottom of the bowl. If it touches the bottom of the bowl, you may damage the attachment, you may damage the bowl, you may damage the motor, you may void your warranty. You kind of get a sense of what I'm trying to say there. The dime test, make sure the dime goes cleanly and neatly underneath with this one, and you should know that all of your other attachments should be the same, if not more, right? Like on the dough hook, if not more. Like I could fit my entire finger between the bottom of the attachment and the bowl. So that'll give you a sense of what's going on. Anyways, hope this video out there helps someone. I'm the Old Coot, and I'll catch you all in the next exciting video. Check out the links in the comment section, also in the description. And if you have any comments, comment down below.